hello, boys and girls. I hope you've had a good weekend and that you are ready to continue on with Marc's mission. You'll recall that Marc kind of got himself into a pickle. The guy he knows, Nathan, who's always trying to pick a fight with him, has finally got Marc mad enough where Marc wants to fight him. So we're going to see what happens in chapter 10, which is entitled Uncomfortable. Today was a pretty cool day until I got home from jiu-jitsu. My morning workout was good. I actually set a new personal record in pull-ups. I did 22 in one set. That's a heck of a lot better than what I could do last year, which was 0. Even Uncle Jake was pretty impressed with 22. So that was a great way to start off the day. From there, I had breakfast and then walked to camp. Okay, walking was not good. I should have had a bike. But I got there, and when I did, everything was good at camp, too. We split into groups for activities, and Nathan wasn't in my group, so it was actually pretty fun. We did a cool art project, and then we played games with eggs, trying not to break them as we played catch, and carried them in spoons, and passed them down a big line using only our elbows. The last thing we did with the eggs was to build contraptions with straws and tape and cardboard that protected the eggs when we dropped them off a 12-foot ladder. My team's eggs survived the drop in the contraption we built. When I got home, I worked on the bike for a while, and then I went to jiu-jitsu class. Jiu-jitsu class was fun. We learned 2 awesome moves, and then we rolled a bunch. Rolling in jiu-jitsu is really fun. It is basically when you fight against the other person, only you don't actually fight. You don't punch or kick each other, and of course you don't scratch or bite each other either. But it feels like a fight. What you are doing is grappling against each other, trying to grip and pull and move your opponent into a position where you can control them. Once you have control over them, try to use a submission hold to make them tap out, which means they give up. The submission hold might be on their elbow or their shoulder, or it might be a choke. But once you have it, they know you have it, and they tap out to give up. Of course, this isn't always me that gets the submission hold. Sometimes I get beat too. And that's okay, because every time you tap out, you actually learn from it. You learn what mistake you made to end up there, and you learn what you can do to avoid it happening again. So tapping out, even though you're losing, isn't that big of a deal in practice. At the end of class, I noticed that Uncle Jake was there and that he was watching me. He had a big smile on his face, and I could tell that he was happy to see me train and actually know what I was doing. He also saw me tap out a few kids, which was cool. When class was over, Uncle Jake and I went out to the car. As soon as we got inside the car, he said, "How do you like jiu-jitsu?" with a big smile on his face. I think he already knew the answer. "It's awesome," I told him. "It's super fun." "What do you like about it?" "I don't know exactly. Pretty much everything, I guess." The main thing is that I like how all the moves fit together, and one move leads to another move, which leads to another move, which leads to another move. And when you put the moves together, it's like a special power. I know. It's awesome, isn't it? Uncle Jake asked me enthusiastically. "Yeah," I told him. Then his whole face and attitude changed in a millisecond. "Then why aren't you going to compete?" His change in attitude confused me for a second. "What?" I asked him. "Why don't you compete? You told me your instructor wants you to compete, but you're not doing it." "Why not? You're good. You need to test yourself." I should have known this was coming. Just when my day was going perfect. I didn't know what to say, so I just sat there. After a minute or so, Uncle Jake said, "Well, Well, what? I responded, hoping somehow that he had forgotten what we were talking about. Then he said it slowly and clearly. Why don't you compete? I sat and thought about the answer, but I didn't want to tell him. So I started to make something up because it's just not my style, not your style. You are good at it. It is definitely your style. That doesn't make any sense. Well, I mean competing. Competing isn't really my style. I just like to train. But your coach wants you to compete. But I just want to train. Uncle Jake was quiet for a minute. Then he said, why do you want to train? What? Training. Why do you want to train? Because it's fun and I want to get better. Okay, that makes sense. Then why don't you want to compete? It's still jiu-jitsu, and competition makes you better. I know, but I just... Wait, Uncle Jake cut me off. Are you scared? I knew I just had to come clean, so I told him, yeah, I am. I'm scared. Scared of what? Sheesh, you're really good. You do jiu-jitsu all the time. How can you possibly be scared of something you do every day? It's not jiu-jitsu I'm scared of, I told him. I kind of even raised my voice, getting a little emotional. Uncle Jake seemed to sense that and stayed quiet for a little bit, which calmed me down. Okay, then what are you scared of? He finally asked me calmly. I thought about how to tell him for a minute, and finally I just said, losing. I don't want to lose. Uncle Jake nodded his head. Good, he said. Good? I asked. How is that good? I want you to be scared of losing. I want you to be really scared of losing. Why? Because fear will make you train harder. Fear will make you work harder. Fear will make you prepare more. And when you do all those things, your chances of success go up. But I can still lose, I told him. Not really. You only really lose if you don't try. If you let your fear keep you from even getting in the game or on the mat. That is how you lose. But if you get out there and do your best, you will either win or you will learn. Either way, it's good for you. But what if I do horrible? What if I get tapped out in 10 seconds? Then what? Then what? Like I said, if that is the case, then you'll learn. You'll learn what mistake you made. You'll learn what part of your game you need to work on. You'll learn what moves you need to practice. Warriors don't always just do what they want to do. They don't stay in a nice, comfortable world. They push themselves to be uncomfortable. That is how warriors make themselves better. You should do the same thing. Push yourself to do things you don't want to do. Does that make sense? It did make sense, but I still wasn't sure about it. I guess so, I told him. Okay, well, think about it. It will make you better. I was thinking about it. Like always, Uncle Jake made sense. And even though I wasn't quite ready to say yes just yet, I knew it was the right thing to do, and I had to do it. And that's where we're going to leave our friend Mark for today. You guys have a great evening.